Welcome to AmericanDraqon Presents Chinese Medicine in America. My name is Joel Penner. I'm a doctor of Oriental Medicine, a California licensed acupuncturist and herbalist, and a professor of Oriental Medicine. I'm also co-author of the textbook Zongfu Syndrome's Differential Diagnosis and Treatment. The title of this episode is The Five-Element Theory, Part 3, Earth. As I mentioned in the last episode, each element has a great number of correspondences, both in the natural world and in the human body. Here next to me is a chart showing the earth correspondences that are most relevant to Chinese medicine. The properties of earth are cultivating, supporting, growing, reaping, and receiving. Let's look at the correspondences now, and I'll describe how they're relevant to diagnosis and treatment. The color associated with earth is yellow. Yellow foods, such as yams, are very nourishing to the digestion, which is associated with earth. The energy or qi of earth is dampness. It requires a balanced amount of fluid or dampness to cultivate and support the growth of crops. Too much water will injure the crops just as much as too little. The flavor associated with earth is sweet. A little bit of sweet after a meal enhances digestion, which explains the tradition of having dessert after a meal. Too much sweet, as we all know, injures the digestion. Not enough sweet can weaken the digestion, but our society doesn't suffer from lack of sweet. The smell associated with earth is fragrant. It's the smell of old flowers or old blossoms as you walk past a bush. It has a slightly cloying or sticky and overly sweet sense to it, which tends to engulf you. If somebody gives off that type of odor, you can assume digestive problems. The season associated with earth is late summer with its humid dampness, and its phase is transformation. We see in nature that if you plant your crops in the spring, the heat of summer will make them grow, and the transformation process that occurs during late summer ripens them and prepares them for harvest. All organ systems in Chinese medicine have both a yin and yang component. The yin organ, or zong, associated with earth is the spleen pancreas, usually just called the spleen. The yang organ, or fu, is the stomach. As I mentioned in the last episode, this basically makes up the digestive system. So everything associated with earth is related to digestion. Again, you will learn in more detail about the functions of the organs when we do episodes on them in the future. For now, I will try to keep my explanations simple. The sense organ associated with earth is the mouth. This certainly makes sense since digestion begins in the mouth, and we find that when digestion is out of balance, we often see sores in the mouth. The tissue associated with earth is muscle. When the digestion is strong, the muscles are strong and supple. When digestion is weak, fatigue is the main symptom, and when we are fatigued, it is much harder to maintain strong muscles. Saliva is the body fluid associated with earth. Saliva is located in the mouth, and mixing saliva with food is the first step in digestion. The mental-emotional aspect associated with earth is contemplation or thinking, and its sound is singing or humming. People who are always singing or humming to themselves may have an earth imbalance. Contemplation is the act of calmly considering circumstances, of weighing the pros and cons of any situation before making a decision. This is often called digesting the information. Too much thinking or overthinking can weaken the digestive system, and at its extreme can become obsession, which is pathological in its own right. We don't often see deficiency of thought or not enough thinking clinically. We think way too much as it is. Meditation is the act of not thinking. Most people are unable to meditate to the point where it could do damage. Monks that meditate for extremely long periods can suffer from lack of nourishment and other bodily symptoms that can come from not using the body. As you can see, earth is the only element that is associated with thought. All of the others are emotional in nature, and as the seasons color the earth, so the emotions color our thinking. Thinking is what keeps our consciousness attached to the body, and therefore attached to earth. When we stop thinking, our consciousness floats out into the universe. We have out-of-body experiences. Those masters who spend most of their time out of body need to have their followers carry them around, feed them, and bathe them because they're no longer attached to earth. So thinking or contemplation is necessary to being an active participant on earth. I said in the last episode that in my opinion the emotional associations are the most important and the most fun to think about. The Chinese say that all disease is internally generated. What creates internal imbalance is toxic emotions or toxic thought. There is an axiom in Chinese thought that says qi, or energy, follows thought. Emotions propel our thoughts. Intense emotion makes thoughts very powerful, while lassitude or lethargy makes our thoughts weak or impotent. Qi is the bridge between mental, emotional, and physical aspects of our being. If our thinking or feeling prevents qi from getting where it needs to go, the organ systems become weak. Finally, let's take a look at the energetic relationships associated with Earth. Here's our 5-element chart. Earth generates metal, which is associated with the lungs. If Earth is weak, metal becomes weak and we may suffer from shortness of breath or weak breathing. Metal can overact on Earth. For example, the large intestine, which is the yang organ associated with metal, can become excess if there's constipation. It can overact on the stomach, which is associated with Earth, and cause stomach problems such as bloating or gastritis. Earth controls water. If Earth is weak, thinking, the mental emotional aspect of Earth, becomes weak, with an inability to concentrate and solve problems. Fear, which is the mental emotional aspect associated with water, can insult the Earth, causing fearful thinking and even paranoia. On that note, we're going to finish this episode. Please remember, if you have questions, think about it, and don't be afraid to contact me at joel@AmericanDraqon.com. In the next episode, we will discuss the element metal. See you then.